The society that we know has changed. Now, rich people live in enormous villas and have all the luxuries of life, while the poor are confined to extremely high-tech but small facilities. The entire day they have to ride exercise cycles and earn a digital currency called merit. Using these merits, they can buy all the necessities of life like food, entertainment, and so on. People live in small rooms that contain screens. One can watch movies or even play games, but of course, everything comes at a price. The screens also play adult advertisements, which can only be skipped at the expense of some merits. All the people can build up their own avatars. Generally, someone with a good avatar is considered rich, while the others are poor. Despite all these features, life is boring inside the facility, as they are confined 24/7 by highly computerized walls. However, with the help of a golden ticket, they can participate in a talent show called Hot Shot. If a person gets selected, they can live a luxurious life. They also don't have to cycle anymore. Sadly, the price of a golden ticket is in the millions. The protagonist of the show is a cyclist named Bing Madsen, who has over 15 million merits in his account. He doesn't like buying materialistic things and tries to live a simple life. However, he does skip the adult ads when they pop up randomly on his screen. Bing also loves playing video games at night, especially the ones where he can shoot things. While he is cycling, he mostly prefers listening to music or watching landscapes, but the guys next to him often watch comedy shows, live music, and even adult content. The true magic of this world is that these guys know how to cycle with a half-chub. There is also a girl named Sophia who likes to practice violin while cycling. She appears to have a crush on Bing, but can't put herself together to propose to him. But one day, she gets the perfect opportunity. Bing is trying to get an apple from the vending machine, but it gets stuck. So, Sophia springs into action and shows him how they can retrieve stuck objects from the machine. She then tries to initiate a conversation, but Bing simply says, "Thank you," and walks away. At night, while Bing is engrossed playing video games, suddenly an advertisement of the Hot Shot talent show pops up. Annoyed, he tries closing his eyes, but the alarms inside his room start blaring. This reveals that one cannot ignore the advertisements. They have to use some merits to make it go away. In the morning, as Bing is on the way to his workplace, he notices a newcomer named Abi Khan. Bing, who is usually an introvert, becomes instantly smitten by her beauty. Hence, from this moment onwards, he tries to find a way to chat with her. His lucky day finally arrives in the unlikeliest of places, the bathroom. After Bing finishes his business and gets ready to depart, he suddenly hears Abby singing beautifully. Bing tries to compliment her, but due to his awkward social skills, he can't. To make matters worse, an adult advertisement suddenly pops up and ruins his moment. Later at work, Abby sits on the opposite row and makes an origami out of a food wrapper. She then places it on her cycle, but moments later, a cleaner takes it away, revealing that loitering is not allowed in the facility. All this while, Bing keeps staring at her. Even at night, he can't stop thinking about Abby. He also sings the song she was humming in the bathroom. Just then, he sees an ad for the talent show Hot Shot again, and gets an idea. The next morning at work, Bing approaches Abby, who is also having problems with the vending machine. He cheekily teaches her how to retrieve stuck food items from the machine and strikes up a conversation. Although nervous, Bing says the exact lines Sophia had used on him a few days ago. This impresses Abby, and she too starts opening up. She reveals that she just turned 21, which is the minimum age to work. Abby wanted to go to the facility where her sister is, but it was already full. Then, at the right opportunity, Bing brings up the time he caught her singing in the bathroom. He compliments her beautiful voice, but Abby plays it down, saying it isn't extraordinary. However, Bing thinks that she has a special talent, so he advises her to give an audition on Hot Shot. He even offers to pay the entry fee, which is 12 million merits, on her behalf. Bing reveals that he inherited the merits after his brother passed away last year. He doesn't like buying fancy clothes, eating expensive food, or updating his avatar. In short, he doesn't like materialistic things, so he wants something real to happen, like Abby getting popular for her talent. As expected, she refuses to take up the offer, but when Bing promises to be by her side all the time, she agrees. At night, after getting back to his room, Bing learns that the rate for the golden ticket has increased. It now costs a whopping 15 million merits, which is almost everything that Bing has. Nonetheless, he buys the ticket, as it has become his mission to impress Abby. Shortly after, he sends it to her, making her excited. In return, Abby sends him a virtual kiss, thus kickstarting a special relationship between the two. Early the next morning, they skip work and head to the location where the hotshot auditions are taking place. Inside the elevator, Abby gives Bing a penguin origami as a thank you gift. She explains that it is flat, so he can hide it wherever he wants. After a while, Bing sees how nervous Abby is, so he holds her hand to calm her down. Once they reach the audition set, Abby is allowed to enter because she has the ticket, but Bing has to be verified first. He is given a painful temporary tattoo on his hand, which registers him as Abby's friend. Soon the two reach a room which is full of other auditioners. They are practicing their respective talents. Some are singing, some are dancing, while some are just blabbering around. It is revealed that many of these auditioners have waited for almost a week now. But to everyone's surprise, Abby is almost immediately called up. This is because of her beautiful looks. Some auditioners take this angrily and demand justice, but the bouncer simply tells them that he's just following orders. Meanwhile, Abby is asked to face the camera and record a short promotional line. I want to be famous. Then she is hurried backstage, where a staff member hands her a drink called compliance. Abby says that she doesn't want it, but she is told that it is mandatory for all the auditioners to calm their nerves and keep them from puking. Hence, reluctantly, Abby takes a few sips, and as soon as she does so, she starts getting dizzy. Despite this, Abby goes on stage to perform her act, while Bing watches her excitedly from backstage. There are 3 judges: the scary yet understanding one, Hope, the fashion diva, Charity, and the guy who is in charge of all the adult content in the country, Wraith. Initially, because of the extreme nervousness, Abby is unable to introduce herself properly, so Hope encourages her to just perform. However, Wraith simply wants her to reveal her skin. He is flabbergasted by her beauty and doesn't care if she can sing or not. Despite this, Abby ignores him and starts singing. As the entire country watches in excitement, she sings a perfect rendition of Anyone Who Knows What Love Is Will Understand. This astounds the judges, as well as the digital avatars that are witnessing the live performance. Unfortunately, Hope cuts Abby short and explains that while this is the best singing performance they have had all year, it is only good, not great. The quota for singers is already full, and only an extraordinary performance can make the cut now. However, Abby does have something extraordinary, which the entire country is desperate to see: her body. Hope adds that Abby would become a superstar if she agrees to be part of Wraith's adult company. This would be the only way she can have a lavish life, a life where she doesn't have to cycle anymore. As soon as he says this, the other 2 judges also start pressuring Abby to say yes. Even the crowd chips in and starts chanting, "Do it." Bing, who is watching all of this from backstage, becomes angry and tries rescuing her, but the security swiftly apprehends him and takes him away. At last, Abby, who is still under the influence of compliance, becomes overwhelmed by the chance and says yes. She does so with tears in her eyes, meaning that she does not consent to it wholeheartedly. A few days later, we see Bing in his room, fidgeting with the penguin origami that Abby had given him. He is still distraught over how things turned out, and blames himself for the entire incident. In addition to being sad, Bing is also broke. He barely has the merits to afford healthy foods, so he is forced to eat whatever he gets his hands on. One night, while Bing is in his room playing video games, suddenly an adult advertisement pops up. To his horror, it is Abby's first movie. Since he has no merits left to skip it, Bing immediately covers his eyes and tries to avoid watching it, but the blaring alarms are so high-pitched that he can't stand it for more than a few seconds. Reluctantly, he opens his eyes and tries going out, but the door just won't open. It turns out that if an advertisement plays, there is no way to evade it, except for coughing up a few thousand merits. Bing has no choice but to watch, and all he notices is a heartbroken Abby. Having had enough, he goes crazy and starts slamming the screens until one of them breaks. As Bing screams in desperation, he notices a glass shard on the floor and an idea strikes his mind. From the next day, he puts all his energy into collecting merits. Bing is the first one to show up at work, so he uses a tiny amount of toothpaste to brush his teeth, and he doesn't buy food anymore. Bing eats leftovers of his colleagues and also the fruits stuck in the vending machine to satiate his hunger. At night, he doesn't play games anymore. Instead, he practices dancing, something which he hasn't done all his life. And in a matter of months, he manages to amass 15 million merits. Bing finally has enough to buy his own golden ticket, which is the first step of his plan. The following day, he hides the shard of glass and the empty compliance packet inside his clothes and heads to audition for Hotshot. Bing is the first person to arrive, but soon, hundreds of people crowd the room. Fortunately, he doesn't have to wait for long, as the bouncer is ordered to find someone ethnic. Next, Bing is asked to cut a promotional line, but he simply says, "I'm an entertainer." water. Once he reaches backstage, a staff member hands him a compliance drink, but he rejects it, saying he has already had it. Bing shows the empty packet he sneaked in as proof. Following this, he is finally allowed on stage. Seeing his appearance, the judges don't say much, and they ask him to get on with it. Bing complies, and he starts his performance. It is a highly energetic dance, which is a result of months of practice, and also the anger that has been building inside of him. The judges appear to be fascinated by his moves, but just then, Bing stops his performance and takes out the glass shard. He then points it at himself, and threatens to commit the unthinkable if anyone gets close to him. Wraith, who seems to be unconcerned, challenges him to do it, but Hope and Charity say otherwise. They order the guards to stand down and politely ask Bing what he wants. The latter says, "Just listen," and he starts ranting about the system that is controlling them. At first, he chastises the judges for treating everyone like fodder. They take anyone who is beautiful and dump others, even if they have talent. Bing also badmouths the audience and calls them sheep. He mentions that no one in the country is brave enough to stand up against the system. All their lives, they have been controlled and tormented, but still they have no problem with it. By the time Bing is done with his speech, the entire audience goes numb. They can't believe what they just heard. However, they again start screaming when Hope mentions that this was the most heartfelt speech he has ever heard. He then manipulates Bing by saying that his message is a good one, but in order to transmit it to a wider audience, he has to keep on speaking. Hence, Hope offers Bing to talk on his channels twice a week in exchange for an insane amount of money. Hearing this, Charlie says she'd definitely watch his show, while Wraith labels the glass shard gimmick a neat one. And just like the last time, the audience also starts chanting, "Do it." The pressure is too much for Bing, so at the end, he sells out. He agrees to do the very thing he wanted to change. A few days later, Bing starts his new show, where he speaks ill about the system with rage in his eyes. He has continued with the glass shard gimmick, and the show quickly becomes a hit. The story ends as we get a glimpse of Bing's new life. He no longer has to cycle, as he now has all the wealth he could wish for. Bing can drink orange juice every day. He has a proper figurine of a penguin, and most importantly, he can see the outside world, which is full of lush vegetation. Subscribe for more videos like this.